苏州到底是怎么了？
So, what's up with Suzhou lately? This used to be Suzhou Industrial Park, right? But now a lot of factories have packed up and left. I'm talking about some big factories with thousands of employees. Even some well-paying foreign companies have bailed. You know that factory I used to work at? It's gone now too. And the ones that are still hanging around, they've downsized big time. Orders are all over the place, and profits, not so hot. To cut costs, most of them are just hiring temp workers. It's like a battle royale between factories out there, getting tougher by the day. Following the outbreak of the pandemic, China's economy faced challenges with intensifying market competition. Shifts in Beijing's policies, coupled with tensions in US-China relations, have exacerbated the uncertainty of the business environment for foreign companies in China. As profits in China continue to decline, foreign enterprises are leaving one after the other. According to Bloomberg, sources familiar with the matter revealed recently that London-based Unilever is considering selling the majority of its stake in a water purification equipment manufacturer in China, namely Qinyuan Group. In 2014, Unilever acquired Qinyuan Group for an undisclosed amount. A source speaking on conditions of anonymity stated that Unilever is working with a consulting firm to evaluate the interest of potential buyers. If sold, Qinyuan is estimated to be valued at around $300 million. Established in 1998 and headquartered in Ningbo, China, Qinyuan produces water purification products under the Truliva brand. At the time of Unilever's acquisition of Qinyuan, it was the largest deal that the company had made in China over a decade, doubling its scale in the water purification business in the country. Unilever also owns the water purification brand Purit and the air purifier brand Blue Air. The decision to consider selling Qinyuan comes amidst a series of uncertainties, including geopolitical tensions, trade barriers, regulatory challenges, and slowing economic growth, prompting other companies to reevaluate their operations in China. The declining status of the Chinese market has become a global phenomenon in recent years. On March 15, the Financial Supervisory Service of South Korea announced through the Electronic Disclosure System, DART, that Lotte Chemical, headquartered in Seoul, sold all its shares in its joint ventures Lotte Sanjiang Chemical and Lotte Chemical Jiaxing in China in 2023, completely withdrawing from all businesses in China. China used to be one of the largest importers of South Korean petrochemical products. However, in recent years, with a slowdown of the Chinese economy, the demand for petrochemical products in China has also decreased. In addition, Chinese petrochemical companies have engaged in price wars, expanding massively through low-price strategies, making it increasingly difficult for South Korean petrochemical companies to operate in China. The battery industry in South Korea is also restructuring its business in China. LG Energy Solution sold its stake in Jiangxi VL Battery, a joint venture established with China's Beacon Tech in 2020. Samsung SDI sold its battery assembly companies in Wuxi and Changchun in China as early as 2022. Moreover, South Korean automotive companies, including car manufacturers and parts suppliers, are also withdrawing from the Chinese market on a large scale. For example, Hyundai Motor, South Korea's largest car manufacturer, sold its Beijing factory in 2021, its Chongqing factory in 2023, and plans to sell its Changzhou factory this year. Hyundai Motor once had more than 5 factories in China, but now only 3 are left. As Hyundai Motor's business in China shrinks, the automotive steel supplier Hyundai Steel is also restructuring its subsidiaries and factories in China. HL Mando, a well-known automotive equipment manufacturer in South Korea, sold its subsidiary in Chongqing that produces brake and suspension systems. Hyundai Glovis, Hyundai's logistics company, sold all its shares in Changzhou Logistics, a joint venture established with Changzhou Group in 2023. According to a survey conducted by a South Korean corporate data organization, CEO Score, South Korean companies have sold or liquidated 46 subsidiaries in China since 2016. Data released by the Ministry of Economy and Finance of South Korea show that FDI from South Korea to China decreased by an average of 78% annually in 2023, the largest drop in 30 years, especially in the manufacturing sector. This indicates that the economic relationship between South Korea and China is weakening. The withdrawal of South Korean companies is related to the deterioration of the business environment in China. A survey conducted by the Federation of Korean Industries on Korean companies operating in China found that more than 80% of companies believe that the business environment in China has deteriorated compared to 10 years ago, with government risk being the main reason. 70% of companies believe that various regulatory measures taken by the Chinese government to achieve common prosperity have had a negative impact. Discriminatory treatment of foreign companies has also worsened the business environment in China. More than 80% of Korean companies believe that China discriminates against foreign companies in approval processes, business regulations, and other aspects. Japan is the largest source of foreign investment in China and was once the earliest foreign investor. However, in recent years, Japanese companies have been withdrawing from China one after the other. This is quite inconsistent with the confidence of the Chinese government in its own business environment. In 2024, Bridgestone, a Japanese tire manufacturer operating in China for over 20 years, announced the termination of commercial vehicle tire production at its Shenyang factory on January 26, 2024. The factory was shut down on February 29, 2024. The company also plans to terminate the production and sales of commercial vehicle tires in the first half of 2024. The Japanese department store giant Isetan Mitsukoshi Holdings plans to close 3 department stores in China. The 2 in Tianjin will be closed at the end of April, while the one in Shanghai will be shut down in June this year. In October last year, Mitsubishi Motors sold all its shares to the joint venture Guangzhou Automobile Group and withdrew from the Chinese market. On August 7th last year, Teijin, a Japanese materials company, announced its withdrawal from the automotive materials business in China and redirected its resources to North America. Numerous globally renowned companies, including Canon, Sony, Toshiba, Nikon, and Astellas Pharma, have withdrawn from China, relocating their supply chains to Southeast Asia or back to their home countries. Additionally, well-known Japanese food enterprises such as Yoshinoya's, Hanamaru Udon, and the popular Japanese bar chain Watami have also exited the Chinese market. Meanwhile, the Japanese udon brand Marukame Seimen continues to shrink its presence by closing stores. Furthermore, as early as April 2020, during the outbreak of the pandemic, to alleviate the economic impact of COVID-19, Japan's cabinet approved the largest ever economic stimulus package in history, totaling 108 trillion yen, of which 243.5 billion yen was specifically allocated to subsidize Japanese manufacturing companies relocating from China. In the first round, nearly 90 companies applied, with 1,670 Japanese companies in China applying for government subsidies to withdraw from China in the second round. The aforementioned departing companies include well-known businesses such as home appliances retailer Iris Group, electronics company Sharp, hygiene product maker Saraya, pharmaceutical company Shionogi, medical device company Terumo, and chemical manufacturer Kaneka. The industries involved in the nearly 90 Japanese companies include automotive component manufacturers, chemical fertilizers, medical pharmaceuticals, electronic products, aircraft components, information technology, optics, papermaking, raw material processing, and others. According to a survey by the Japanese Chamber of Commerce in China, representing over 8,000 corporate members, 55% of the respondents expressed dissatisfaction with the current business environment in China, with expectations for the fiscal year 2024 declining. The main reasons for Japanese companies' passive attitude towards continued investment in China include uncertainty about the Chinese economic outlook, need to observe the enforcement of anti-espionage laws, and the difficulty in conducting normal business activities after Japan's discharge of treated nuclear wastewater into the sea. The Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry in China has 8,000 corporate members in China. This survey's responses from 1,713 companies include 1,037 in the manufacturing sector, 665 in the non-manufacturing sector, and 11 state-owned enterprises. In recent years, not only Japanese and South Korean companies have withdrawn from the Chinese market, but also American, German, and even domestic private companies in China. For instance, American asset management giant Vanguard Group and management consulting firm Gallup have decided to pull out of China. Advisory companies like Forrester and Gerson Lerman Group have undergone significant layoffs. Manufacturing sectors with high dependency on China are also relocating to some production lines to countries like India and Vietnam. An electronics importer and exporter in Shenyang, Li Hua, stated that due to the changes in the international environment, they can no longer continue operations in China. He remarked, "Having established an industrial chain in China, relocating elsewhere would entail increased costs. If there was still room for survival, we wouldn't choose to withdraw." According to a report titled Riskful Thinking, Navigating the Politics of Economic Security, jointly released by the China-EU Chamber of Commerce and China Macro Group consulting firm, foreign companies operating in China are facing increasingly severe challenges. This report represents over 1,700 European companies in China, with 55% of the respondents stating that the business environment has become more politicized over the past year. The research found that this widespread uncertainty has prompted 3/4 of European companies to reassess their investments in China over the past 2 years and diversify their supply chains. Among them, 12% are shifting more production overseas, and 1% of companies are severing all ties with China. The report highlights that factors such as the COVID-19 pandemic, global economic slowdown, Ukraine conflict, and geopolitical competition between the US and China have disproportionately skewered European companies in China towards risk management and building resilience rather than cost saving, optimizing efficiency, and increasing market share. The report states, with the complexity and severity of the risks that businesses face having grown exponentially in recent years, companies are now having to allocate more resources to risk management and compliance activities than ever before. Citing an anonymous manufacturing industry insider, the report notes that their company's market share in China plummeted from 35% to 0 over the past decade. The executive stated in the report, "China has us in a geopolitical trap. We remain dependent on sourcing from China, but we cannot sell to the market. We are investing elsewhere to diversify, but in practice, this will take a long time, maybe more than 10 years. This uncertainty highlighted in the report echoes the views expressed in recent report by the American Chamber of Commerce, which noted that the US-China tensions and regulatory inconsistencies remain significant challenges. Most members plan limited investments in China or no new investments by 2024. According to Choi Bae-gyun, professor at the Department of Economics at Konkuk University, from the perspective of China's policies, political logic takes precedence over economic logic, inevitably undermining market certainty. With a gradual reduction of advantages like labor costs in China, emphasizing political logic too much will make foreign businesses avoid the Chinese market due to this uncertainty. Against the backdrop of China's economic downturn due to the prolonged slump in the real estate sector and weakening domestic demand, foreign direct investment into China continues to decline in 2024. Data released by the Chinese Ministry of Commerce on March 22nd shows that foreign capital activity in January and February this year amounted to 215 billion yuan, about $30 billion, down 20% year on year. This marks the 8th consecutive month of decline in this data. According to data released by the State Administration of Foreign Exchange in February this year, China's direct investment liabilities in international balance of payments increased by $33 billion in 2023, and currency flows related to foreign entities in China plummeted by 82% compared to 2022, reaching the lowest level since 1993. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics of China also shows that profits of enterprises investing in China in 2023 declined by 6.7% year-on-year. Reuters reported that since the Chinese government implemented lockdowns to combat COVID-19, followed by an unexpected sudden lifting of restrictions at the end of 2022, there has been noticeable change in foreign attitudes towards China, including concerns over investment environment, weak economic recovery, and geopolitical tensions between China and the West. Measures taken by the Chinese government to deleverage the real estate industry and strengthen regulation on technology companies have also made foreign investors uneasy, particularly about the transparency and unpredictability of Chinese policies. Gina Raimondo, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, previously stated that the American business people have told her that China is becoming uninvestable. As foreign companies flee China and foreign direct investment in China declines, Guo Tingting, Vice Minister of Commerce of China, stated that foreign enterprises will be fully guaranteed equal national treatment with Chinese enterprises. Guo did not specify the specific details regarding the so-called equal national treatment. Generally, national treatment refers to a country granting foreign citizens and enterprises the same treatment as its own citizens and enterprises in civil rights matters, which is an important supplement to the most favored nation treatment principle under the WTO. The State Council of China has also announced new measures to address the slowdown in foreign investment, including expanding market access and allowing foreign participation in industries such as banking, insurance, and healthcare. For years, Western companies have complained about China's unequal market access. In addition, Western governments have expressed concerns about China's economic coercion. In July 2023, China introduced revised and broader content on its anti-espionage law, exit bans for entrepreneurs, and raids on consulting and due diligence firms, further suppressing the inflow of foreign funds. The Wall Street Journal searched through millions of documents in online court databases and found 37 cases of foreigners being banned from leaving China. However, lawyers say the real number is much higher, and academia has identified over 150 such cases. 6 years ago, an American executive residing in China was scheduled to fly from Shanghai Pudong Airport to San Francisco for a routine business trip, but he was informed that he was not allowed to leave China and has been stuck there ever since. He was targeted by the Chinese Communist Party's exit ban, a legal tool used by Chinese courts, leading many foreign executives to be stranded in China, often without knowing when they would be allowed to leave. The scope of Chinese exit bans and the length of time required to negotiate with Chinese courts are both unclear. Most exit bans do not apply to individuals accused of crimes, but to those involved in civil litigation, usually commercial disputes. Even foreigners who do not bear personal responsibility or who left the company years before it became involved in disputes are subject to these bans. According to a report released by the human rights organization Safeguard Defenders on May 2, 2023, the Chinese Communist Party is increasingly preventing people from leaving China, including foreign executives. Restricting exit has become one of the many tools used by the CCP to strengthen control over various aspects of people's lives, and restricting the departure of foreigners has become a means of hostage diplomacy by the CCP. In August of last year, the Chinese government launched a 24-point action plan aimed at improving the investment environment for foreign companies and attracting more foreign investment. However, many multinational corporate leaders have expressed fatigue with China's various commitments. Heightened concerns about China's long-term growth prospects have led to significant changes in their risk-return assessment of investments in China.